In the hard times, how do you manage low morale? Okay, it will happen, sometimes among the partners, or losing money and low. What's your strategy of fighting the low morale?
Two things. One of the things that I love more than anything else is to find a low morale situation.
I'm sorry?
I love to find a low morale situation because it's one of the most important problems. It's like if you're a heart surgeon, what do you want? You want the most messed up heart of all to operate on. So if you have a situation where you have bad morale, low morale, then you know you've got the single most important problem you could be dealing with right there in front of you. So I like that. I want to know that's there. And this is going to sound kind of very abstract, but I believe that low morale is a caused outcome. It doesn't just spring up from people, it's caused. So the way I would do it is to begin to understand the lack of morale by asking myself, how did I cause it? And if you start from that question, just to think that way, if you start from that way, what you're almost always going to find is something structural, something about the atmosphere, something that I caused is bringing that low morale into being. And if I do it that way, then that means this, that if I'm attributing the cause to me, that means the solution is going to be something that I have. It's caused, it's not a disease, it's caused by something. So you just figure out where it is, be committed to it not being there, ask how you caused it, then have at it. But it's also something that is, it's like a lot of things, you never cure it. It's always there, something you have to address day in and day out, hour in and hour out.
2 minutes, but I'm going to ask you to explain one thing that you've shared with me about a dozen times. How many of the companies that you've had have had a technical problem?
Technical problem in the sense of
technology. How many of them had a people problem?
they all have people problems.
So you may sometimes feel you're unique in that as an organization. Every one of the businesses that you deal with has a people problem at some level. It seldom is the technology is the problem, right? Technology may be an issue, but bluntly, the people is the wildest variable in every business. I can't get them to show up on time, or I can't get them to go do a sales call, or whatever. They're the issue. It's not the product. People are the ones, and
that's what I meant. Dealing with the partners who have low morale, low patience. That's sometimes a challenge.
It's a real challenge, and it's not something you can answer in an hour or even a day sometime. But I think I'll leave with one very mysterious little phrase that'll just make no sense at all, but I like it. And if you reflect on this long enough, just reflect on it for days and days. It's not something that is an answer or is immediate present, but there's an old saying that we use in business, and it goes like this. You always get back exactly how you are being. So if you are getting back low morale, because you are being that there is low morale. If you get back confusion, it's because I'm talking about me, I am being that there is confusion. So in other words, states of affairs of people are caused by how you are being. And if you think about that, well, that makes sense. But if you reflect on it long enough, it starts to make some sense. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I would like to ask if you could share some more experience about how to employ somebody who is smarter than you. Because it's a very tricky thing to, what the other person said, to trust somebody and to do it right time, not to invest too much time, but to be clear as well, not to reveal too much, maybe.
Well, the problem, I've never found anybody smarter than me, so I've never to do that. If you think about, if I inventory my own skills, I don't know anything about, I'm not good at finance, I'm not good at accounting, I'm really not good at technology. I've just got a few small skills of my own. it's not hard for me to find somebody that, well, clearly this person's a whole lot smarter, at least in this area, than I am. And as you meet people, you just talk to them and ask them what their interests are, would they be interested in taking things on, and how they could add. What's harder is to start finding and looking at people who are better leaders than you are. Because you kind of, at least for me, I kind of feel like, well, I'm a pretty good leader. But when you start looking at somebody and say, if that person's a better leader than I am, should I bring them in? Should they take my job? If it's my company, I mean, should they take my job? It's not like there's a magic, it's not like an HR issue, it's more like an issue of family building. And I think the way you do it is you just keep your eyes open, listen to people, and when you see people who are exhibiting valuable leadership skills or valuable intellectual skills or valuable conceptual skills, engage with them and talk with them and see if you share things and share visions. And then frequently, it goes back to what you give away comes back. You find yourself saying, oh, I'd like to bring you in because you're better than me and I want you to take my job. Now I'll go do something else. This is personal. The first company that I had that failed so bad, one of the reasons it failed was because I couldn't do that. I was the president of the company, and I thought, I was a young kid, and I thought, I'm president, and I'm smart, I'll make this work. A friend of mine, a dear friend of mine who had an investment banking group, he was the chief of staff to President Clinton. He runs the Bowles-Simpson Deficit Commission, one of the most respected investment bankers in the United States. For my birthday present, he said, I'm going to do a valuation and an analysis of your company. This was the early one. So he sends a whole team from his investment bank. They do a valuation, they study it, they bring back this great big report. It didn't matter that he was just doing it for fun. So I read this report, and at the end of it, it says, the single biggest weakness in this company is the president. Me. The single biggest weakness of the company. If that's not addressed, nothing else can happen. Well, the learning from that is, if I'd have been smart, I would have been able to say, it's not that I'm not dumb and I'm not inept, but in this situation, I'm not the right person to be the president. And I would have been looking for somebody to say, I need a better president. Because it's my company, I own it. I'm not going to own any less of the company because somebody else is president. It's a real tricky thing, and you know, I think it's just self-awareness and being attuned to your own weaknesses and strengths and what you do well and knowing what you don't do well, being really comfortable with what you don't do well, and knowing that. And then you just look around and network with people and say, here's somebody, if they were on my team, we'd all be better off. And I know that sounds kind of fuzzy and it's not a very linear process, at least not for me. Sir?
I think one last one. I think we have to climb down from our ego tree. I think ego for us, it's a failure. It's a hindrance to the progress. We are all small guys here, you know, one-man, two-man shows, small. And I think there is an ego problem. I am president, and we like titles, and it's a reflection. It's our society as well, because we strive to get recognition as individuals.
Sure. And
this is a big issue with us, not just Palestinians, Arabs in general. You know, we are egotistic, and this even shows even with large companies. They tend to be, you know, family businesses, and family businesses are the worst model of running a business. I know that for sure. And they don't want to dissociate from that because of ego, the issue of that they are in power, they are in control, and this is not good for business. And what I have learned personally from you is very, very important, which is something that I've wanted to do all along, but I couldn't sort of put my fingers on it, is to hire smarter people. I think this is very, very important. This is a good formula for growing a business. Because these smarter people, when you hire them, they're looking for an opportunity.
Right.
Because if you can find smarter people, it means they don't have a job. And if they don't have a job, it's your opportunity to get them. And they will grow your business, and you will grow with them. And I think this is the smartest thing you've said, is hire smart people.
Well, it's easy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you from everybody.